Time for our weekly visit with the Executive Director and CEO of the Fiesta Sports Foundation, Erik Moses. This is our opportunity to take you behind the scenes and talk high-level college football. Erik Moses now on Rockin' Minute with Jimmy B on ESPN 620 and streaming on the Arizona Sports app.
Damn, we missed the TCU highlight. What happened?
Oh, man.
So they scored again.
It's tough rubbing salt in the wound with the big dogs.
Yeah, I guess we can't do that to the
these guys,
CEO and executive director of the Fiesta Sports
they're a little
Foundation.
sensitive there in North
It's
Carolina.
kind of a big deal. Erik Moses down on the right to it. I guess not here on ESPN. Phoenix, how we doing there, Erik? You okay?
I'm generally good, but I did want to talk to you guys about this pick'em game. I need to pick a bone with you about that one.
You son of a. I mean, come on, Erik. It's like there's always that like 1% that are so loud, right? I mean, if someone complains about the popcorn at the Fiesta Bowl, that one person could be so loud, right? And unfortunately, it gets under your skin, and like it just did. And I need this. I've had two cups of coffee since 1 o'clock.
I says Erik, Rock has gotten really good over the years to breathe and think before he sends emails.
Yeah, I don't blast back.
Yeah, and then he'll write back, well, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Yep. That's the way to do it. I have had to, over the last several years, adopt a similar philosophy, being in these public positions where everybody's a critic and everybody likes to share their complaints, but far less often do they share the things that went really, really well and that they loved.
Exactly. Yeah. How about maybe she won a week last year and like, I want a gift card on that. Well, anyway. All right. Massive Labor Day numbers for ESPN and ABC. I mean, does that validate the strength of college football right now? I mean, they did such big numbers, like the second biggest numbers in 30 years, capped off by your alma mater not showing up on Monday.
Wow. We've got some adjustments to make, I'll say. Look, I think we all know how strong college football is. I think most people, if you ask them who are knowledgeable about sports industry and about entertainment, would tell you that behind the NFL, college football as a whole is the second strongest kind of product out there in terms of must-see TV. And so, I think this reinforced what we already knew. I do think, as we discussed last week, scheduling really strong games in that opening weekend does a lot to add to the momentum that will hopefully carry us through this week too.
Erik, it's rare, to your point, one of the best weekends I've ever seen. But when has it been when Texas, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Bama lose in the same weekend? And to that point, eyeballs are like, oh, wait a second. For those that didn't watch, who weren't real, maybe casual college fans, to get on board to see this, that their team just could have a shot at moving up in the rankings or in the playoffs.
Yeah, all of that I think is helpful. I mean, we had big brand names, if you will, playing in the first week. We had some upsets with Florida State kind of taking it to Alabama. Brian Kelly finally got the monkey off his back and threw it right on top of Kalen DeBoer's back. And so I think there have been a lot of really good storylines in the first week.
Yeah. And I think with that, I think parity is alive and well. And I think we've talked about this many times, NIL, the transfer portal. Looks like the transfer portal is going to go early January for a 10-day period. I do hope they adopt that and not have shenanigans in December and then in April. All that being said, this is so much more participation, as I mentioned, with the kind of parity we're seeing with the money and the dollars that are being exchanged.
And debate, Minuch. I mean, the fans are debating already who's in, who's out after the week one.
All of it is good. The more conversation, the more attention, the more visibility, the more storylines around college football, the better it is for the enterprise. And we are thankfully a part of that enterprise. And so we want that momentum to start high and finish even higher at a semifinal this year at the Fiesta Fiesta Bowl.
I mean, I know it's we are 1 week, Erik, but Alabama goes down, Texas goes down, Clemson goes down, and obviously Florida State shocks some people. From your perspective, how do these early upsets shape the playoff conversation in your mind?
I think it's too early. I mean, I think we have to figure out how strength of schedule is going to factor in this year. Will that be any different than it has been in the past? Will a Texas gain points or certainly not lose as many points as they might otherwise because they played a really strong defending national champion in Ohio State at the Shoe as their first game with basically a rookie quarterback, right? I mean, I think the one silver lining here could be, if you think about it this way, that all of this overhype about Arch Manning, who is largely unproven, maybe we can just chill on that for a couple weeks and let the kid find his footing and see what he's really capable of doing, rather than giving him the Heisman. But after he's thrown 90 passes in his entire collegiate career before last week, so. Look, all of this stuff is good. We want people talking about college football in the same way the NFL has dominated, talk shows and everything else all year round now. We've got to be the same way with college football.
It's interesting you bring that up about Arch and the weekends the quarterbacks or the running backs or receivers had comparing Arch Manning. Matter of fact, Sam Levitt. A lot of folks talking about, hey, Sam really improved his chances by rushing for over 100 yards, 52-yard run, 2 touchdown passes, on and on. And you heard that through college football. It's like, well, when one goes down, who's the next 2 or 3 that could step up? That conversation was in full force and effect this last week as well.
Yeah, I like that, especially if it's going to favor a guy like Sam Levitt, who was really impressive last year. I think all of us are looking for him to build on his performance last year, and for the Sun Devils to continue to build on their, surprising year last year. I didn't like seeing them drop one spot in the polls this week, but I think going into Starkville this coming week, they've got a chance to prove themselves against an SEC team in a way that hopefully helps them to establish firmly that they're going to be a team to be reckoned with in the Big 12 and in the country.
Is it amazing that one offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator can supposedly turn a program around, i.e. Gus Malzahn at FSU and the fine DC they had? Because I got to tell you what, Eric, they broke out a can of whoop ass on this Alabama team. I looked at it as that big stride FSU has taken finally to go ahead and beat a big boy and beat him convincingly.
I think that helps, but I also think it helps to have that new quarterback, Castellanos, who can run it and who can throw it, right? And I saw that kid play at Boston College last year and in previous years, and you could tell he was a gamer. Put the right pieces around him, give him some protection up front, and when that protection breaks down, he can take off and gain chunk yardage, and you see what happened. They put the pressure on Alabama's defense, which we all remember in the Nick Saban years. That worked the other way. They put the pressure on you, right? And so I think it's a combination of the coordinators, but also coordination is no good without talent.
Erik, as we look ahead, of course, tomorrow, Michigan at Oklahoma. That seems to be like a headline matchup. I think Iowa State's another good game, of course, a rivalry there. And, of course, you mentioned Arizona State hitting to Starkville. But of those 3 games, is there one that you think affects the bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, more than the other? Or, again, way too early?
I think it's too early, but to the extent that you have teams that are rated in the top, let's call it 20 or 15 that are battling each other for position, that could have some effect on their chances of making it into the playoff and then ultimately making it to the semifinal at the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. So, yeah, if there's a lot of movement in that top 20 for sure, that could have effects on who's available to potentially play in our game.
I also like a little bit of the chatter that Gundy had with Oklahoma State and Oregon with Dan Lanning, that little going back and forth. I love that. It's who can outspend who. T. Boone Pickens, can the trust outspend Phil Knight of Nike? I mean, that kind of banner gets the attention of a lot of people who go, okay, let's see if you're overpaying and this team bid. It looks at one of those situations where a lot of teams can look for maybe an upset, like Oklahoma State, if they do, and point that your money can't beat us type of thing.
It's great to have a rich uncle, isn't it? And both those schools have one, but lest we forget what Texas Tech is doing across their program. I mean, they're paying softball players $1 million to come in. So Texas Tech is trying to establish itself in that same way. Look, I was just at an event earlier this week with Desiree Reed-Francois, who's the AD down at the University of Arizona. And, some of her alums were talking about the new cap. And I think what schools like U of A and ASU and, frankly, UNC and others are hoping is that, you're never going to have Texas Oil Man money, right? You won't have those rich uncles. But if everybody is stuck with that 20.5 as a hard salary cap on revenue share, then you've got at least a better chance of hoping that the real NIL dollars that flow from companies that want to associate with your athletes will help to keep you in the game, but you won't be doubled and tripled in terms of spending, as has been the way the last couple of years.
All right, Eric, as we close shop here, Wishes for Teachers. Every week we got to talk about this because applications are open for wishesforteachers.org. Talk about this and the fact that the bowl and the community have stepped up and the numbers just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, we're really proud that this is the 10th anniversary of that program. It's the biggest direct funding for teachers program in the state. This year we'll give away a record $1.5 million. This year that is made up of $2,500 grants to 540 teachers directly to help them to defray cost and of classroom expenses and experiences for their young people. But this year we're adding a new element to it, and that will be that 3 schools will receive $50,000 grants as school wishes, if you will. So that'll bring us to $1.5 million, and we're really excited about that. Our community engagement group met with teachers, met with administrators last year, towards the end of last year, to hear directly from them what they needed and how we could help drive even greater impact. And as a result of those conversations, not only did we raise up from 1.25 to 1.5, but we also added those school wishes. And we're relying on your listeners and others to help us to raise even more money so that we can drive greater impact for more schools all around the state.
Eric, as always, you in town? Or are you fortunate to get on the Gulf Stream this weekend?
I will be here. I am very fortunate that my 19-year-old son is in town, spending some time with Dad, and so we're going to spend a lot of time watching a lot of football and enjoying that time together before he goes back to college.
Good for you.
Good for you,
awesome.
Eric. Eric, as always, man, thanks for making time for us. We'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate you guys.
That's Erik Moses, Executive Director, CEO of the Fiesta Sports Foundation. You can follow him on X at Fiesta Bowl CEO. Again, as we mentioned, this Wishes for Teachers. And I know I'm biased, but it's awesome. My mom was a teacher, so it's just, your family.
Got 2 sisters, one retired, one still teaching.
Wishesforteachers.org. Check it out and get your application in as soon as you can, and that'll increase your chances. So good stuff there. All right, we need one caller right now to challenge the counselor, Kevin Rowe, for our Learn and Row prize pack. We do it every week. Be the first in at 602-230-0620. That's 602-230-0620 to take your shot. And this is what we'll be doing today. It's all over-unders. It's pretty easy. There'll be over-under 250 rushing for the ASU Mississippi State. We'll also do passing for Oklahoma State, Oregon. We'll do Cardinals over-under sacks with Spencer Radler. Wow, Manooch. And winner score of the UC Davis Washington game.
Be a barn burner.
We'll take caller 1. Get in. We're sure we got them already. 602-230-0620.